I would really encourage people as you're thinking this through. One, look, prenuptial agreements are complicated in and of themselves to lawyers, okay? But the complexity of them to clients is having the conversation, right? Sitting down with your significant other early in the game and saying, hey, this is something that I'm really going to want. Is it going to be a problem for you? Because I've had those situations to where, you know, we're talking about, 4 weeks in front of the wedding, and somebody's coming to me saying, hey, I want a prenuptial agreement. And the first thing I say is, does the other party know? Well, I haven't had that conversation with them, but I'm sure they'll agree. Maybe it's going to probably leave some hurt feelings. You probably should have had this way back before you asked her to marry you. These are the kinds of things that really you got to think through and kind of establish for yourself and the relationship early on would be my recommendation.
Yeah, that could be kryptonite for a relationship. If you're about to walk down the aisle and then you're laying a contract on somebody and telling them to sign here.
Yeah, not only that, but that could be grounds to set it aside. There's the formality of prenuptials is extreme and very well litigated and very much important. Everybody wants to say like, yeah, you can just kind of look at these things, and the execution of them, the formalities of them are extremely important. And you really have to understand what you're doing and be well guided through those processes. Because if you make a mistake, then you can set it aside and it really didn't matter. It wasn't worth the paper that they printed it on.
And look, I understand the utility of a premarital agreements. I mean, you don't necessarily, you've been working for 5 or 10 years and you're about to get married and you don't want to lose half your, to be frank, you don't want to lose half your shit. I mean, that's basically what you're on the risk of, or let's say you're already divorced and you don't want to lose half your shit again.
Right.
And maybe you want to leave something to your kids. And, if you have kids from the first marriage. So prenuptial agreements are, in today's age are, with everybody having independent lives, independent retirements, independent, things that they've built for themselves, they become more important. So it's worth sitting down with a competent attorney to go over options before you get married, because like you said, it is a contractual arrangement as much as anything else. And look, if the two family dogs are very, very important to you and you want to keep them no matter what happens, come hell or high water, then by all means, put them in the agreement. I mean, dogs, how dogs and cats are treated under the law. They're treated as property. So you're better off contracting that stuff and making sure it's taken care of, so that you have some peace of mind and some security. And it's worth speaking to an attorney just as you plan for a marriage, just like anything else, because, like I said, people are coming into marriages with more stuff these days, and it's worth at least exploring.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it can save you headaches, not only in that, Bryan, about who gets it, but what it's worth. That's what I really find using a prenuptial agreement can help with, is establishing the worth or the elimination of that particular worth in any type of consideration at the conclusion of that relationship. I'll give you an example. Had a guy who became a fashion designer for, kind of sneakers, kicks, in New York, right? His big O kicks collection, like 1991 Jordans and all these old shoes that I used to love and wear to hell, tore them to pieces. They're worth thousands of dollars now. I'm like, damn, I wish I'd have never put them on my feet. But I mean, basically, this guy had a collection of shoes. Him and his wife are going to get divorced. And she's saying, hey, all your shoes are worth, $30,000. And he's like, no way. And even if they are, I owned a lot of those shoes before we were married. Prove it. Show me the receipts. And so if you're going to say, well, it was mine before, you have the burden of proving that in every state that I'm licensed in. And so, these are things that if you put in a prenuptial agreement, you've already kind of carved it out. You can say, hey, this is my watch collection, my Harley collection, my Corvette collection, my freaking diamond ring collection. And I had it before, and it's never going to be a consideration in relation to anything going forward.
Yeah, you're unlikely to be able to find that receipt from a Foot Locker back in 1998 to find a pair of Air Jordans, right?
Yeah, but she's got pictures of them all lined up on your shelf in your closet saying like, click, 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 let's internet price those bad boys. And you're like, that's some bullshit, right? It is, but...
But yeah, that's a perfect example. your old baseball card collection. That's stuff that's hard. You can't put it. You got Ken Griffey Jr.'s rookie card. I don't know if you have that. I have Ken Griffey Jr.'s rookie card, and
It's a
I
great
got
card to
that
have.
in I got that in a pack of baseball cards when I was a kid. How am I going to prove I got it in a pack of baseball cards when I was a kid? I mean, how are you going to do it? So, that's where a prenuptial agreement comes into play, and you can save your Spider-Man with the first appearance of the Punisher, and or whatever else is worth a crap ton of money, right?
Well, yeah, not only that, but like millennials. So like, right now what's hot, I guess about my son's like the tail end of a millennial. He was probably the last year of that generation. But he's huge into collecting books and vinyl. He's got this massive vinyl collection. Well, a lot of that vinyl we gave to him before. I mean, he's not married now, but I would hope at the point he sits down to say, hey, this vinyl collection that's probably worth a substantial amount of money now, it's mine. I brought it in. But to your point, he's not going to find receipts of any of that. And if his wife at that point wants to say, call bullshit on that, the proof is on him, and that's just a complicated process you don't want to have to get involved in. So really, as you think through.
Go ahead. Sorry. The funny thing about.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to.
Funny thing about vinyl is, remember when CDs came out? You're a Gen Xer like me. Remember when the CD came out? You could buy a record for about $1. Nowadays, you go in the record store, these vinyl records are $25.
Oh, easy, man. I've gotten him something like 50 bones, and I'm like, for a freaking album? What?
That was $1 whenever John Cougar Mellencamp, when he was Cougar Mellencamp, was $1 back in the day.
Oh, hell yeah. But now musicians are, that's a big deal. They'll come out with like limited edition presses of CDs that they converted and remastered on vinyl. And, we all know that the sound quality is different and all that. But I mean, it's just things like that. I would just encourage you. You don't really realize what you're potentially going to divide until you sit down and think about what you have and what you don't want to divide. And when you sit down and say, well, this is what I have and it's what I don't want to give up, it becomes pretty easy what you want to identify in your prenuptial.
Yeah, you're totally right about that.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the Top Texas Lawyers podcast. If you would like a consultation with either Bryan or Sam, please call 1-888-981-7509 or visit us on the web at astxlegal.com. Once again, that's astxlegal.com. Thank you very much.